WrestlingPlus.com. WrestlingPlus.com presents Barry and John's Wrestling Spot. So sit down, open your ears, and most importantly, shut the hell up.
Hey, and this is the Barry and John Wrestling Spot. This is Barry, and how is it going, John?
Barry, I am great. John here, everybody, and tonight we got one hell of a show, don't we, Barry?
We absolutely do. Tonight's Wrestling Spot is going to be a really heavy focus and extremely focused on the career and times, and they've been hard and they've been good at times, even though they're hard at the same time. We're going to focus on that Urban Jump, the current RWF European Champion, who, as everybody knows, he is the current reigning, defending RWF European Champion. He is quite a guy. He's one of those guys, if you want to call him a new generation guy, you want to call him a politician. A lot of people have a lot of things to say about him, and you and I as well have a ton of stuff to talk about tonight. So let's just jump into it as we always do. John, if you want to take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. No pun intended, as you said. Jump right into it. This is a little bit of a different show that we're doing tonight. We love to cover great topics here at the Wrestling Spot, but this is the first time we've ever really delved deep into the history of one of these specific athletes here, and that we cover here in Squared Circle. And that's what's so exciting about tonight, because this guy's got a lot going on. This guy has a lot going on. And some of the things, the most recently announced events for the RWF 2020 Vision. If you're not in the know, if you're not paying attention, get your ass paying attention, because this is what's happening. So, Urban Jump, great guy. Urban Jump started a campaign last year, and we're gonna go over the history of this man's career, this man's life, the life and times, but started a campaign last year called the Perfect 2020 Vision, and what he wanted to see from himself, basically. As he got that campaign going, the man found himself coming out of some hard times, which we'll get into, ultimately winning the RWF's European Championship, their top title, ladies and gentlemen, winning the RWF's European Championship at the 2019 Memorial Day Massacre Big Bang. So that was just incredible. 2020 Memorial Day Massacre, I'm sorry, I misspoke.
End of season 4.
Big Bang. End of season 4, yeah. So basically, that was a big deal. Urban Jump winning against former European champion Wildman, winning the top title, and basically solidifying himself as a great, and that was part of his 2020 vision. The next part was this event, the next official event for RWF exclusive event, I should say, since Big Bang, is now the RWF 2020 Vision, hosted by the one and only Urban Jump himself. So this is quite interesting, and we're gonna circumvent back to this. Barry, what do you think of all of this transpiring?
It's incredible. If we want to go back to the beginning of his career, if you want to talk about that, we'll get back to the 2020 Vision event, the first event of Season 5 of Squared Circle Productions. But if you want to go back, let's go back to 2017. Why won't we? The year is
sure.
The year he was signed. Do you want to go over the circumstances of his signing?
Sure. So Urban Jump he had wrestled some other independent areas But basically we cover what happens here in Squared Circle and his time in the RWF, in the big leagues. So at one point in time, Urban Jump came onto the scene in a very political, in a very fresh-faced, proper kind of way. So basically, if you look back, it was a unanimous signing by the then board of Mitchell Fatal, Dave, Chad the Shad, the founding fathers of the RWF. Dave signed him with a jet, a personal jet for his campaign. He was signed to a 4-year contract, and that's a very a 4-year term. That's a pretty exclusive deal. And
that is. That's a long-term deal right there for RWF.
That is. He was Urban Jump was a hot prospect, a top prospect coming into the RWF. It really goes to show the make of a man when, there's a lot of times we look back at the 20-plus years of RWF history, and we see there's not many things that Mitchell Fatal, Chad the Shad, and Dave agree upon.
True. At
that time, they agreed upon the signing of Urban Jump. So, those great things here. Great, that was a lot of weight and a lot of pressure to put on Urban Jump. But the man came in and, that's the reason why we're having this discussion right now.
Yeah, I mean, even from the get-go, going just based off of that the old RWF board now disbanded, the fact that all three of them believed in Urban in his campaign that he ran, and probably the first person ever run a campaign to get signed, the fact that they all bought in and they all believed in Urban, I think we can all safely agree that they all saw something special in him. We can even say that they may even knew that one day he would be European champion in hopes that he would be, to pay off
exactly
that contract, that long-term lucrative contract.
Exactly. And the thing is, that campaign his slogan was, "Together we can make the jump." And that's to dig deep here, maybe Jump was the guy that had a understanding. The board wasn't always unified on things. And look at what happened to the RWF at the time. The falling apart, the breakdown a little bit. Together we can make the jump. That Urban Jump is a man that is about the community. He's about family, and that was what he really sold himself on. To being a guy for the fans, and being another one of the guys out there. A working class guy that tried. So that was his first campaign. And, everyone really got behind him. We talked, his debut was at the 2017 Memorial Day Massacre, the bloodletting. He had a good day.
Yeah.
That was a good match. He faced Doug Tomorrow, Doug Tomorrow of Pride of the Mask. He faced him in a match that day and was victorious. That was kind of the start of Urban Jump's story here here for Squared Circle Productions here in the RWF. Do you recall anything specific about that match or that event?
Yeah. That event ended, season 1 of RWF and in the YouTube era, and that match was a real highlight because it was such a friendly competition between the two men. It was, as I remember, Urban campaigned for that match specifically. He was making the statements it'd be good for intertime relations, if I remember.
Yeah.
And it definitely was. I feel like it was. And I remember the match ending. Everybody felt good at the end of it. Doug didn't make it through as the winner, but there was a lot of handshaking. And if we could see under that mask, maybe there was some tears. I don't know. But
maybe
it was a great end to Urban Jump's first season, rookie year in RWF. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Trying to think here, recap on the man's career. Stammering through my notes. Jump then went on to bigger and better things. There was a time we didn't know where this man was going. As we got to see, there was a little thing called the Army of Two tournament. Okay? So, here at Squared Circle Productions, we love the Army of Two. It's one of my favorite divisions because it truly, with it being a multi-company division, it's really great. You get to see a lot of talent. You get to see a lot of action. So there was speculation. Who is Urban Jump going to partner with? We've seen it. Who's going to be his campaign running mate? It's really great. Hindsight, the 2020 perfect there. The 2020 vision, hindsight. Looking back, Urban Jump's Army of Two partner was none other than the thespian for all seasons himself, Mick Mack, of Pride of the Mask. Formerly an RWF talent, and it's really awe-inspiring and ultimately exciting to see two guys coming into their rookie year in the RWF. Not saying they're rookies; they had both had time in other places, but their rookie year in RWF. If you're not in the RWF at the time, these are the big leagues. Both of them, their rookie year in the RWF, teaming up, best friends. Now both of them are the top champions in their respective companies. It's beautiful.
And they and the thing is with that tournament, they had an amazing. We all know how the tournament did not end, and
True.
We don't need to get into all the logistics of all that, but you can see with two guys who are best friends who work together so well, what they could have accomplished because they made it through round one. They beat Fatal and Chad, representing the board that night, and I'm sure Fatal and Chad were there was some statements made. They both put out statements on Twitter. I'm sure they weren't happy that they didn't win, but one of their top prospects that they unanimously signed beat them, and it's like they could have been more proud of at least Urban. I know Mac and Fatal have had their differences. I'm not sure how Chad feels about it. We all know that there is a very, very fondness for Dave for McMack, so I'm sure Dave was somewhere being very pleased with this outcome. Dave teamed in that tournament with Murphy Pennyworth. But,
Dave being somewhere is just a fact of life. Dave just being off somewhere. Just to cycle through that. But no, I'm sure that there was a lot of pride in this.
Yeah.
Not to cut you off there. Go right ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, they and then they went round two. They beat AKIV. I don't think we need to even. I mean, come on. They beat AKIV. That's an pretty incredible feat. They were the first ones in RWF to beat AKIV. And then they move on, and they were supposed to be in the finals against Amazing Hazen and Zero, who were teaming up for the tournament at the time, and that never happened. I think we can all safely say that I would say we can speculate on a lot, but I would have put my money on Political Stage because they were a team, and it really felt like a team. In being best friends, we all know what best friends can do. Look at the Buddy Boys, the first Army of Two.
True, absolutely. Absolutely.
You can't tell me the two other best friends wouldn't have won the titles at the time.
Well, there's really a level of working in sync with someone that is on your level like that, and that's something I don't think Zero and Amazing Hazen were ever on a level. That's why they didn't work out. That's why the tournament didn't end. They weren't in sync. But Political Stage was they had a good groove. After the tournament, they went on to the Memorial Day Massacre to face, that was Doomsday Clock. They went on to face the Calientes of Pride of the Mask. The first, that was a guest match by the top tier talents from. Go ahead.
They were signed. Because of Doomsday Clock, their contract they were able to get out of their contract. If you remember, the Calientes, Fatal signed them. But yeah, after that match, after Political Stage won that night, and Doomsday Clock and the RWF, of course, we all know what happened. They were Calientes.
Struck Zero.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the Calientes, also another good example of what being in sync with your partner can do for you, and that's why we love the Army of Two so much. Multiple time tag team champions from around the world, different places. And that's what Political Stage beat them at the Doomsday Clock. So really riding high coming out of their rookie year. After that, after Doomsday Clock, get a little bit of good and bad news. Ultimately, McMack would choose to take a good opportunity for himself and go to Pride of the Mask, where, we're not here to talk about McMack, but ultimately you talk about Urban Jump, you talk about McMack. And, McMack, it just goes to show the excellent career that man is having down in Latin America. Just really taking strides and making history down there. And, you can really make history with such a rich title like the Latin American Championship. It's beautiful down there, and, McMack would go down to Pride of the Mask and begin a back and forth with the current, at the time, Latin American champion, La Vida de la Fiesta, and, really put himself in the record books. Back in RWF, Urban Jump stumbled a little bit, and it was getting his time going, started his campaign, really digging into the community, really digging into what he can point out, what he wants to do in RWF, really pointing out what he can do in the RWF, really trying to set up what his next step is. And that was leading into Double Action 1000. Really trying to push forward and being in a double action match for the European Championship.
And the Baron of Legendary 7.
Oh yes, just going up against Mitchell Fatal, going up against Wildman, going up against Zero. I believe it was just really.
Yeah, at the time, Zero was still the double champion. Unfortunately, the European and BL7 champ at the same time, going into the match.
True. That was darker days there, and that just really, it really speaks volumes of where we've been and where we're going and where we've come. Ultimately, sadly, that was the first bit of not really good success for Urban Jump there.
Yeah, start of a downhill. You know, it was his first shot.
Absolutely.
His first opportunity at the European Championship and the Baron Legendary 7, and he blew both, unfortunately, that night.
Yes. Yeah. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, I don't care what they tell you in school, kids. Not everybody comes out a winner. At the end of the day, it just happens that way. Moving forward after Double Action 1000, this was also a time that if you want to look back, Urban Jump, part of the campaign, part of what he really wanted to expand into the community, was not only helping everyone, but helping women. And at the time, with himself, he had his wife. His wife at the time, I would like to say, La Femme Jump. And things took a bit of a turn. Setting up, going into the Memorial Day Massacre, Legacy of Carmel Park. Barry, this is a hard topic for everyone to hear because, we really, I care about everybody here at the Squared Circle Productions. These guys aren't just numbers on a spreadsheet. They're athletes. They're people. We're all people here. All of a sudden, Urban Jump was beginning trying to get his feet back under himself after the Double Action 1000 match, and there was an attack in his home. His wife at the time had been attacked. Breaking and entering, and assault. Assault and battery. And, we try to, we don't like to cover things like this. There are dark days when we have to. But it happens. There was an assault by one and only Carl Big Money Streetwise. Also in his rookie year with breaking and entering. We had never heard of Big Money at the time. Had we, Barry? I mean, I hadn't heard anything, even roster mentions of him.
And the thing is, we haven't covered him a whole lot, his background before entering RWF and being signed. All we really know about the guy is he is a devious guy that is from Washington, D.C. area. Which is never good.
Never good.
We know how that.
A lot of ruffians and trash in the area.
Yeah, a lot of shitbag. The swamp, and he crawled out of it, and somehow got into RWF. And I'm not sure if he was targeting Urban because he was a politician. He's from Washington D.C. Maybe he hates politicians. We can't really get inside the head of Carl, but yeah, he broke into the house.
Personally, I don't want to get inside of the head of that guy.
No, not at all, and that's what started it all between the two, between Carl and Urban.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be one of those situations that we look back on, in times of trouble, and really have to evaluate how some people testing the metal, as they say. Old Carl, just being the rat bastard that he is, broke into the Jump estate and attacked La Femme Jump. Since then, there's been some other tabloid news of what may have gone on between La Femme and Old Carl, but ultimately, not long after that, Urban Jump wanted to address everyone yet again. Carl Big Money Streetwise attacks Urban Jump in the locker room as he's getting ready to make the address. of the update on his wife's condition. Not long after that, we go into the massacre. A street fight. Like I said, I don't like to talk about some of this stuff because it boils my blood.
It was a brutal match, from what I remember.
It was. If you attack someone's loved ones, you are the bottom barrel piece of shit. And that's just get it out there. You're trash. And that's what really Urban jumped good on him for wanting to take it into his own hands. Take it to the streets. Let's go out there. Let's lay it on the line. A little eye for an eye, blood for blood.
Yeah, and it was very violent. It was a very violent encounter. Unfortunately, Carl proved to be a little bit more streetwise, I guess, pun intended, in the street fight.
Yeah.
And won the match. He brutalized Urban. If you remember, they had to bring security out to stop the fight. And that's how the legacy of Carmel Park ended for Urban. But time kept going on. And, he still was under contract with RWF, so he wasn't going to quit. He's not going to quit the people.
Absolutely. Basically around that time, old Fox Fedak broke the news to Urban Jump that LaFemme had left. Some of the circumstances around her leaving the marriage are obscure, but Urban Jump took it quite hard, didn't he?
Yeah.
Sad to say. I mean, I think anybody would, and that's not a dig at Urban, personally, but I think anybody would, if you're in a position like that and someone just turns their back on you, I think it's hard to deal with. So,
he had a lot of motivation, let's say, going into his straight to the top match.
Exactly. A lot of how do I need to get something under me. So.
Yeah, and he was going in against one of the best. I mean, it was Urban Jump versus Shimmy Shimmy Duke of the Players Club versus Amazing Hazen. All three, selected to be in that match, and it was a three-way ladder match. The winner of that was going to get a European Championship title shot. And I think his hate and his rage for what was going on in his life and his couple losses there and the attack really spurred him on to come out, on top.
Absolutely.
That night.
Absolutely. And it's good to see someone, a little bit of good luck for someone, when they're down in the dumps. Ultimately, some of that would backfire on him because, as you said, he faced one of the greatest of all time, the Amazing Hazen, but not only him, Shimmy Shimmy Duke in that match. It was Shimmy Shimmy Duke losing that match was one of the key factors of getting him to join Carl Big Money Streetwise in
that's right.
forming the Players Club.
Yeah, he wasn't even in the Players Club yet. I apologize for everybody. Yeah.
We look back on it and we really see that was a time where hell froze over. Some of the real shitbags here in the RWF really started to buddy up, and they then turned their sights on Urban Jump. He would then go for the next several months being put through the rigors, really beaten down, attacked, vandalized, victimized, breaking and entering at his home, trying to burn his house down with him in it in the middle of the night, The man couldn't even cut a promo in the back, finish an interview in the back without being hospitalized, being assaulted by Shimmy Shimmy Duke and Knuckles McFadden. With the mental abuse, with the physical abuse, I tend to wonder sometimes why RWF didn't step in. But Urban Jumps, he lives a public lifestyle. The way he carries himself, he's not going to be a guy that backs down, because he has to be out there to represent the community. He's not going to be a guy that wants to throw in the towel. And he's inspiring. What was that?
He certainly is. He certainly is, and through it all, he didn't give up. Through the attacks, they burned down his Christmas tree. Attempting, possibly, an arson into it. Maybe even possibly they were planning a homicide. Who knows? But political figures are always under attack. Be it verbal or physical. So it just goes to show you the grit of Urban as a public figure. And none of this slowed him down as they rolled into RWF's King of the Hill event.
Absolutely.
He went against Chad the Shad in a singles match.
Yeah, getting a match against one of the greats, Chad the Shad. They had a bit of a difference of opinion himself. Chad the Shad, no hesitation on why he is had the career that he's had. Urban Jump took another L that day.
Yeah. It was one of those things where, unfortunately, Urban was definitely not the favorite that night against Chad the Shad. It was a good match. In a lot of ways, it really was. But I think there was a lot of people wanted to see Chad the Shad beat Urban, and Urban was feeling that. I believe there was a lot of people just had no belief in Urban. I don't know if that got to his head that night. I'm not sure, but the general consensus was that Chad the Shad was the man, and he certainly was, unfortunately, for Urban that day. I think
you couldn't be more accurate. And Chad the Shad is still the man. He proves that all the time. Urban Jump had lost a lot of, he had started to garner this reputation as a loser, as an imbecile, and why should anyone get behind him? Going back to his campaign, why should you vote for him, for Jump? Why would you want to follow him? If the man's wife couldn't even follow him, why should you? And that was a sad pill to swallow. The season continued with Double Action 2000, and that was quite the night.
Urban found himself in the midst of a storm. It was his second Double Action event, because it was the second Double Action event. It was his second Double Action match. A lot of people,
absolutely.
Even though he had been in a Double Action match, he didn't come out the season before in 1000 at all. So nobody was backing him, and he was facing Wildman, Chad the Shad, and Amazing Hazen were the other three contestants in it. It was for the first pinfall was for the Baron Legendary 7. The second pinfall was for European. Of course, we all know Amazing Hazen got that first pinfall, for an opportunity at the BL7, and Wildman got that opportunity for the European Championship. And it left Old Urban high and dry, and it left him really in the dust. He was very, he was not even a talking point at this point. After that event, all the Chris, we look at Sinclair and Fox, basically wrote Urban off at this point, I think, in a lot of ways. He was losing support from the company. He was losing support from his base. He was losing support. He obviously lost support from his wife far before this, but at this point in time, we're looking at some dire straits. He had that locked contract, but do you think they would have kept him after this? I don't think they would have, if not for his solid contract.
Going into that match, it was such raw talent as Wildman, Amazing Hazen, Chad the Shad. The only guarantee in that match was that Urban Jump was going to lose it. That's so sad to say, because Urban Jump does have a ton of talent. He is the RWF European Champion now, and he had such a strong start in his career here in the RWF. But this,
and a lot of that had to do with his teaming up with McMack. It's a political stage, and I think a lot of people just after that fell through, they really weren't viewing his luck as a singles competitor very seriously at this point.
Absolutely. I mean, there was a ton of speculation that McMack had carried that team. It was without McMack, what is Urban Jump? And and that's simply not the case. But
no. And if you look back and study those matches and look at them in depth, I mean, you can see that that's not true. But to the record books, you would think so. Just analyzing win-loss.
True. And the thing with Urban Jump is he is a ring tactician, because a man that plans a campaign, that plans what he is set out to do, how he wants to go about it, and that's something that's very honorable and brave of him. He blatantly tells you, he tells the RWF fans, he tells everyone, this is his goals. This is what he wants to accomplish, and this is how he's going to do it and why he's going to do it. And that's the beautiful part of what Urban Jump has tried to do in his tenure here, really plotting his course. And, being able to...
I was going to say plotting his course. And we saw that night, that wasn't the only match from Urban that night.
True.
He really stuck his claim that night.
Yeah, and that's what, I mean, really laying it on the line. And, he has his goal, and he's going after that goal. And that's why he is a ring tactician. He has plans. He's a planner. He's a thinker. He's a doer. And that night, he took that loss, but he stepped up to face Dave. The first time in, 15 years that Dave had main evented an event? I give Dave a lot of shit, but it is Dave, I like to say it's 15 years since he main evented. Hell, it was almost 15 years since we saw him. But Dave still looked great. And Urban Jump decided, I've already had one match tonight. Urban Jump didn't plan on hitting the showers, going grabbing a beer with the boys, going and getting something to eat and heading to the hotel. He went back, toweled off, and then warmed up again, got ready to hit the ring. And he went out there and he took it to Dave, the legend. And the match didn't go good for him.
No. Things did not go his way. Dave showed his legendary status that night, coming out on top over Urban. It was one of those things. It was brave of Urban to get up there and put it on the line. Especially after losing earlier in the night, already wrestling earlier in the night, to be the one to walk out to that open challenge against Dave. It was an incredible thing, and it was an empowering thing. And even though we didn't come out on top, I really think that's what pushed him As things move forward, as we move forward to the massacre that year at Big Bang, and we all know how.
I agree, and because I think a lot of fans that had lost some hope in him really gained some receptiveness to him. Just really being like, wow, the fortitude of this guy to like never give up, and that it was not long after Double Action 2000 that Urban Jump stated, he's coming to his next campaign, and he stated his next one would be the perfect 2020 vision, and how he was going to go after the current RWF European Champion, Wildman. Because, yet again, we had stated at Straight to the Top, Urban Jump did have a title shot.
That's right, in his back pocket.
Yeah, keeping it there for a rainy day. And, when the chips were down, he decided to make it happen for himself. So, it was amazing, the drastic shift in personality. It was like he believed in himself again. The fans saw his vigor, and they started believing in him. Other guys backstage started believing in him. And then the lead up goes to the Memorial Day Massacre, Big Bang. Not to gloss over it, but I think when we look back again, Wildman and Urban Jump, that was a great back and forth that they had. Really cutting deep. And Wildman didn't pull punches there. He used a lot of the things that had been keeping Jump down. And, you can't keep a Jump down because, jumping is going up. And that is exactly what Jump did. That match at Big Bang was one of my favorite matches in the past 5 years. I'm gonna say 5 years, Barry. Just being able to see this, we talk a lot about the Big Bang event, and it's refreshing to see the top tier talent that represents RWF.
It was an amazing day. I mean, we look at everything with Urban going into it. He started to get his base back. The tide is definitely turning for Urban. He was definitely pulling some more support. We didn't go into it with this, Wildman's definitely going to win. And we all know how great Wildman is, and that's the thing. Like we started to believe again. His 2020 vision started to come into play, started to come into action. And he started to get his believers back, and we look at that, which became a feud. It started for it just out of the fact that he had a shot for Urban, had a shot for that European title. But I mean, they really dug deep. They really went at each other, and it really was a big bang for a lot of reasons. It was a big bang. It was him winning that title. We could say it was the Big Bang. It basically started,
you absolutely
rocket launched Urban's career.
Yes, I truly believe people could see Jump's 2020 vision. They started to see it. They started to believe it, and they got behind him. You really feel like he's just another one of the guys. It's inspiring seeing, he did it. I remember we watched together. I remember jumping up off the couch with you and like just screaming and being like, wow, this is great that we're getting to cover this. And just like before I even realized that I was celebrating for Jump, I felt like I was celebrating with Jump. And that's what this is all about. And I really truly believe now that's where this goes. You know, ultimately, you know, coming right out of Big Bang, you know, starting season 5, Total Action Guaranteed World Cup Tournament. Round 1, Urban Jump faced off against Mitchell Fatal, the RWF Incarnate, in a Tower of Doom match.
Title.
First match since getting the title. And that's the hard spot, because, you know, I don't want to say it negatively, sadly, Jump did not fare that well. Fatal looked great. You know, it's the fine wine of a man that is Mitchell Fatal. The guy just never gets worse. He's great. You know, he really is the RWF Incarnate. You know, he said it for years. You know, I'll say it for years. You know, if there's someone that I think could knock down a guy that is on a high, that is like an Urban Jump RWF European Champion high, this is the RWF Incarnate, Mitchell Fatal. And that's exactly what happened in that Tower of Doom match. I didn't expect it, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah, there was a lot going into this match. It was one of the biggest talked about matches of the Total Action Tournament Round 1. It was an incredible match for both competitors. You know when you go against Mitchell Fatal, the 5-time European champion, there was so much riding on this for both competitors. You know, unfortunately Urban lost that night. A lot of people look at it now and go, okay, well he beat him. You know, what now? You know, where do we go from here with Urban? You know, it was a specialty match. It really was. It was a Tower of Doom. It was a Tower of Doom.
Yeah. We've never even covered a Tower of Doom match before this. Let alone seen one, let alone these guys have never been in one. You know, Fatal is a little bit better in cages. I'll give him that. So I think he had a leg up on that.
I think that this was one of those matches that it really boiled down to the fact that Mitchell Fatal has a wide variety of experience. And
absolutely,
you mentioned him being good in cages, and I think that just that experience in cages, just that in the variety of the crazy type of match types he's been, you know, throughout the 2010s and onward, I think it's what really gave him a leg up on Urban that night. And, you know, unfortunately, Urban's maiden voyage as European champion didn't go as well as he had hoped.
True. You know, and that's what I mean. I don't remember Urban Jump ever being in a cage match. You know,
I don't believe he has.
We look back at a career like Mitchell Fatal. You know, one of my favorites. Do you remember many, many years ago, Mitchell Fatal leapt from the top of the cage to beat Chad the Shad? It was beautiful. You know, and that was Mitchell Fatal's dedication to the craft. You know, and that's why I think he probably had that leg up.
Yeah, I believe so. I think a lot of the win was circumstantial, and it was based off of Fatal's experience. You know, Mitchell Fatal will never go down in history as he's a wily competitor, and I think that he always has something in his back pocket, and that's why he's been so successful all these years.
Yes.
You know, it's what keeps him around. You know, raw skill ends. At some point, that ends. And Mitchell Fatal has never... We can say he has a lot of raw skill, of course, but it's his wiliness, it's his ability to adapt that has kept him around all these years.
He's a survivor. He's evolved so many times to stay on top, to stay being the guy. And you know, and that's nothing negative to Urban Jump. You know, just like I said, there's days we just don't win everything.
Right,
but
I don't think that this didn't slow Urban down at all. It really didn't.
No, because that's the thing. Right after that, at the end of the day, he's still the European champion, and right after that, and that didn't slow down his stability either, because after that, they made the announcement that the RWF believes in Urban Jump, believes in his vision, his perfect 2020 vision, ladies and gentlemen. Plug for Urban Jump. The RWF believes in Urban Jump's perfect 2020 vision so much that they're letting him host the first RWF exclusive event of Season 5, 2020 Vision. And, this has never been done before. This has never been done in the history of RWF. This has never been done by the Mitchell Fatals. This has never been done by someone like the Amazing Hazen, a man that is a show himself. These so many great talent in the past. Urban Jump hosting an event dedicated to himself. As the 7th RWF European champion. 21 years this company has been around. 7 European champions. Lucky number 7, maybe, we could say. If you do the math, that is one champion every 3 years. And that is not accurate, because the fact of how many years that title was held by some of the greats, the length of time some of these guys have had it, and that's what this is, just the start of the time of Urban Jump. I completely believe that. And this event is going to be huge, my friend. We have so much great things going on this season. Pride of the Mask is on fire right now. The Total Action Guaranteed World Cup Tournament is the biggest thing to ever happen to professional wrestling. And then we have Urban Jump's 2020 Vision. We're all winning. We're all the lucky ones with him being number 7.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show you with so much great things going on, you look at how big everything going on is. This is what they're putting up as competition for the competition, to fight against, to fight against, the sales of Dentro del Sol, to fight against all the future sales. We have the upcoming Night of the Mask, and this is what RWS putting out. This is how much they believe in this guy. This is how much that you look at the seed that was planted years ago in Season 1 of RWS YouTube era. You look at it, as they move forward, they're putting so much faith in Urban that they're naming an event after him. They're allowing him to host it. They're allowing him to run it. And I mean, my God, the marketing, just they're selling it based off of one man. And that man is the current RWF European champion, Urban Jump. And it's an amazing thing. It just goes to show you, even though he was down, he's back up. He's back up and running. The tournament, he was knocked out of the Total Action tournament, but that's not stopping him. I mean, the faith they have in this is just incredible, and I cannot wait to see the card. And we talk about that, but there's half of the competitors in the tournament were knocked out. That's how a tournament works. And that's just, it just is what it is. This is a testament to what a year in the life can do for a person. And I think that's what the inspiring thing about Urban Jump is. And I think that's why people flock to him. I think that's why people are getting behind him. I think that's why people can see his perfect 2020 vision. I feel it. I feel it every day. It's inspiring. And like you started to mention there, I cannot wait to see what this card's going to be. For the RWF to believe in it this much, for them to be like, Urban Jump, you're going to take over this event. You're going to run it. We're going to give you the platform to start your campaign and really get it going. And to be the first, like you said, to drive ticket sales, to compete against something of like the Dentro del Sols out there, what is RWF got planned?
And like I said, Jump is a guy that has a plan. He puts it into action, and that's why this could be the best card ever.
It certainly could, and it's going to be big, as they say. The main event, I can't even imagine what it's going to be. We can only expect. I mean, I think it's safe to say that Urban will be coming out last that night in the main event. I'm sure I'm making speculations here that he's going to defend that title. We can't wait to see who it's going to be against. It's going to be a big surprise, and I'm anxiously awaiting the post. I
would like to think that he is a defending champion. He's a guy that is ready to put in the work. So I love it. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be big, as RW says. I mean, it's going to be the first time he defends the title. It's going to be a real test. And it's going to test all of his campaign promises. I have a lot of faith. I mean, going over Urban Jump tonight, it's been absolutely incredible. Any other thoughts or anything else you'd like to add in there, or any highlights you'd like to wrap it up with this evening?
The only thought that I have, I hate to end on a sour note, but this could be one of those moments. I have full faith that Urban Jump will do amazing things with 2020 Vision. But this could what if he doesn't pull it off? What if this show doesn't go well? Where does that leave Jump in the mix then? And I don't like to think that. I try not to be a negative person, but I like to speculate. I'm into conspiracies. That we talk about that, but
definitely a huge gamble on everybody's part.
It is, but like I said, maybe Jump is lucky number 7. So, I think that's pretty much my only last thought. I've loved going over the history of Urban Jump. We got to get him on the show.
Absolutely have to get him on the show. I mean, I know we did this whole show about him, but yeah, maybe we could schedule that. I think that he's definitely shown interest in coming on. I'll
have Liam try to reach out to him.
Yeah, I know John, Liam, myself, we've all exchanged Twitter conversations with the man. Really look forward to getting him on the show. I can't wait. I'm hoping to get him on before 2020 Vision or after. Hopefully before.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Well,
I'm sure he's busy right now planning.
Yeah, and my final thought on Urban, I mean, Urban's the guy. I mean, this really shows you how life is, man. You go through hard times.
Absolutely.
But you don't let that stop you. You keep moving forward, and nothing could stop Urban. And I have full faith that at 2020 Vision, whatever he has up his $500 sleeve, that it's going to be great. The card he's going to pull out, that silken sleeve is going to be amazing. And I absolutely cannot wait. And that's pretty much all I have. What a guy. Big fan.
He's a man I would follow. But yeah, so yeah, absolutely. That's all we have for tonight, everybody. Please follow us, like us, subscribe us, give us a share. Leave your comments in the section below, and let us know if there's any questions that if we do get a hold of the man and have Urban Jump on the show, please let us know if there's any questions that you'd like us to ask him.
All right, everybody. Well, we'll be looking forward to you or hearing from you, and we will see you again. This has been the Barry and John Wrestling Spot. Have a good night.
Take care, everybody.